Yo, 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 what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another Crimecast. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking. All right. So shouts out to everybody that comes to the room. As you guys come in, please make sure that you smash that like button. Also, make sure that you hit the bell icon twice. You definitely will not want to miss this. But if you do, no worries, because she lived to tell about it. What do I mean? Let's take a listen.
We got a civilian. Hit. What the heck? She get out of her cups? Ow! What was that? Oh! Man, Danny, I'm hit right here. Yeah. I'm hit right here too, Danny. Hit in the head.
Our console where it actually said gun, and she.
Notice how when it comes to this situation, they grabbed walkie-talkies instead of grabbing guns. So now I'm curious as to what right-wing pro-cop media has to say about this.
He was able to see that. That's going to be replaced. We're going to put a switch someplace else in the vehicle to lock our gun. It's a freak deal. It's one of these probably, I'm not going to say 1 in a million, but, it's one of those deals that, once it happens, then you go back and try to make sure it never happens again.
Yeah. So if you're curious as to what exactly happened right there, don't worry. We got some background information on this situation. So what we have here is an article from Local 12, and it basically explains what you just saw. Woman escapes cuffs in cruiser. Then she shot a deputy with an AR-15, a random AR-15 that just happened to be peacefully and nicely resting in the back for her to easily assess. Shout out to my man Carlton Way, and shout out to Carla Lockhart. Good to see you guys. So let's check this out. And we probably have to wait for some ads. Yeah, of course we do. You know what I'm saying? We only got 5 seconds worth. Oh, lady got some skills with her legs. You know what I'm saying? So let's check this out real quick.
Deputies, the woman was only being detained for erratic behavior and was not going to be arrested, but her fate quickly changed.
When we detain somebody, they actually go in handcuffs. They place her in the backseat of the patrol car. While in the backseat of the patrol car, she was able to get her wrist free from the handcuffs, and the handcuffs were put on properly. She was able to reach up on our consoles.
If the handcuffs were put on properly, how was she able to escape them? That should tell you something about handcuffs if they were put on properly and this meth head was able to escape them. What does that tell you about the handcuffs, guys?
Several switches. One is a gun switch to unlock the gun lock, and she found it, unlocked the gun lock, and was able to retrieve a AR-15 rifle. And then she was able to figure out how to put a round in it, put it on fire, and she fired approximately 10 rounds at our deputies and a civilian.
It's not good. A civilian got hit as a result of this. So now, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, I just have a housekeeping question to ask. I got a couple leftover crime stories. If anybody wants me to take care of those crime stories and clear my screen and go ahead and just do them all right here, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't want me to, give me a thumbs down, and I'll get to the rest of the day's content. And don't forget, 2:30 Eastern time, me and TD, just talking. If you're not subscribed to that channel, you can do that easily by hitting the channel section of the page, making sure you click all the way down. Or you can go to Just Talking on YouTube, or you can go to TD Hip Hop Media's channel and find a Just Talking page. Shout out to my man Gullah Jack Tracks. So my question real quick, in addition to, do you guys want me to tell you guys about some more interesting quote unquote crimes? Did you guys hear about this story? If you guys did, give me a thumbs up. If you guys didn't, give me a thumbs down. And in my opinion, something as miraculous as this should be front page news, should be national news. Now, this is a cause for police reform. Effective and proper placement of handcuffs, ending with police getting shot from the back of their car with an AR-15. Not too sure why, not hearing more about it.
And a civilian.
Both the officer and civilians sustained non-life-threatening injuries and have been released from the hospital. Grady County Sheriff's Office is now making some changes to keep their deputies safe.
One, I will say, is on our console where it actually said gun, and she was able to see that. That's going to be replaced. We're going to put a switch someplace else in the vehicle to lock our gun. It's a freak deal. It's one of these probably, I'm not going to say 1 in a million, but, it's one of those deals that, once it happens, then you go back and try to make sure it never happens again.
So there's that. What do you guys think about that? Woman escapes cuffs in cruiser, shoots deputy with AR-15. And you can only imagine, of course, this was in a place like Oklahoma. A woman being detained in a police car in Oklahoma is accused of slipping out of her cuffs, getting her hands on an assault rifle in the car, and opening fire. A deputy and another man on the scene were grazed by bullet fragments. The incident was caught on camera and is prompting changes. You think? Now, I wonder what this is right here. Let's check this out. So we got to wait 13 seconds on this one. And while we're waiting these 13 seconds, if you guys want some more crime content inside this stream, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't, give me a thumbs down.
Deputies, the woman was only being detained for erratic behavior and was not going to be arrested, but her fate quickly changed.
When we detain somebody, they actually go in handcuffs. They place her in the backseat of the patrol car. While in the backseat of the patrol car, she was able to get her wrists free from the handcuffs, and the handcuffs were put on properly. She was able to reach up. On our consoles, there's several switches. One is a gun switch to unlock the gun lock, and she found it, unlocked the gun lock, and was able to retrieve a AR-15 rifle. And then she was able to figure out how to put a round in it, put it on fire, and she fired approximately 10 rounds at our deputies and a civilian.
Both the officer and civilians sustained non-life-threatening injuries and have been released from the hospital. Grady County Sheriff's Office is now making some changes to keep their deputies safe.
One, I will say, is on our console where it actually said gun, and she was able to see that. That's going to be replaced. We're going to put a switch someplace else in the vehicle to lock our gun. It's a freak deal. It's one of these probably, I'm not going to say 1 in a million, but
Is it a freak deal? Or do we see things like this happening more than we'd like to admit to? According to deputies, the woman, later identified as Rachel Zion Clay, was only being detained for erratic behavior and was not going to be arrested. But her fate quickly changed. So they weren't going to arrest this psycho. When we detain somebody, they actually go in handcuffs and they place you in the backseat of a patrol car, said Grady County Undersheriff Gary Boggs. While in the backseat of a patrol car, look at this. While in the backseat of a patrol car, she was able to get her wrist free from the handcuffs, and the handcuffs were put on properly. She was able to reach up on our consoles. There are several switches. One is a gun switch to unlock the gun, and she found it, unlocked the gun, and was able to retrieve an AR-15 rifle. Now, if you ever happen to talk to a pro cop, Dub Esser, What you should ask them is, why is this woman still alive? Because if this was a black suspect, this is a death sentence for them, right? If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. My man Carlton says, I would sue the police department and whoever manufactures those handcuffs since they, quote unquote, malfunctioned. Facts. I would also sue the police department if I was that civilian for not keeping me safe, because that's what I called them to the scene for. And then I messed around and got shot from their car with their gun by a suspect that was supposed to be in their custody. So now here it says, then she was able to figure out how to put a round in it, put it on fire, and she approximately fired 10 rounds at our deputies and a civilian. Now, that doesn't sound like she figured out anything. It sounds to me like she knew exactly what she was doing. Both the officer and civilians sustained non-life-threatening injuries and have been released from the hospital. Grady County Sheriff's Office is now making some changes to keep their deputies safe. One thing they might want to do is put effective handcuffs in there. One, I will say, is our counsel, where it actually said, quote, gun. And she was able to see that, said Boggs. It's going to be replaced. We're going to put a switch someplace else in the vehicle to lock our gun. It's a freak deal. It's one of the probably, I'm not going to say one in a million, but, it's one of those deals that, once it happens, then you go back and try to make sure it never happens again. That's what we're looking at. Yeah, all of those, where this happens a little bit more than we'd like to admit to. Let's not forget, this is Crimecast. Go back and watch the video about Lance Stores. They take it easy on, quote, certain people. All right. So it looks like it's really going down in this state, and we should check out a couple other crimes. Clay barricaded herself in the car and surrendered nearly 3.5 hours later. Boggs says Clay tested positive for methamphetamine, but remember, they weren't going to arrest her. So what does that tell you? His words were that they weren't going to arrest her. Turns out she's a criminal drug addict. She faces 3 charges of shooting with the intent to kill and is being held on a $1 million bond. Let's look at this guy right here. He looks like a nice, favorable character, and so does this lady here, don't they? The good Christian people of America. Let's see what they're up to, shall we? Looks like it's going down in this state. But you guys recall, this is the stuff that doesn't happen. Man killed his girlfriend while trying to shoot her ex-boyfriend. Daytona Beach, Florida. A man was charged with murder after he allegedly shot his girlfriend while trying to shoot her ex-boyfriend. This guy is an actual Chad. His name is Chad Keene, and he's 37 years old. And he was arrested on Tuesday in Daytona Beach, Florida, after a manhunt. And this is according to WKMG. Keene is accused of killing 30-year-old Carly Elliott. Elliott was in an argument with her ex-boyfriend outside a gas station on Tuesday morning, according to an affidavit. She called Keene, and he arrived with a gun. Keene confronted the ex-boyfriend and fired the gun. So we don't believe that Carly was the intended victim. We believe the ex-boyfriend was the intended victim, Daytona Beach Police Chief Jakari Young said. Keene left the scene before police arrived. A SWAT team stormed his apartment and found evidence there, but Keene was not. After a manhunt that lasted nearly 4 hours, and let's not forget, a manhunt that lasted nearly 4 hours, that's resisting arrest. So by the right-wing media standards, this is a death sentence, right? Keene was found in his car around 6 p.m. and taken into custody. He faces charges of second-degree murder, not premeditated, and possession of a weapon, ammo by a convicted felon. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about that? Remember, these are the crimes that don't happen because the stuff just doesn't happen, right? Let's check out a local news report on this. The guy was a simp. He went there while she was at the gas station with the ex, tried to shoot the ex and messed around and shot her.
My smile had taken so much from.
This is going to end in 13 seconds. Got a lot of streams for you guys today. So real quick, if everybody hasn't smashed that like button, please make sure you guys smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell, make sure that you guys hit that bell.
Judge this afternoon.
Yeah, Daytona Beach police say Chad Keene shot and killed his girlfriend yesterday after getting into a fight with her and her ex-boyfriend. News 6's Molly Reed has the latest.
Good afternoon, sir. Are you Chad Keene?
Yes, ma'am.
Chad Keene is now in the Volusia County Jail without bond. He's charged with second-degree murder, accused of killing his girlfriend Carly Elliott on Tuesday.
A woman's been shot. He's laying on the sidewalk.
Daytona Beach police say the shooting happened in front of the 7-Eleven on Oleander near Glenview Boulevard. They say Elliott was arguing there with her ex-boyfriend, and she walked away from the argument to call Keene for help.
The boyfriend, S1, or suspect, responds over to the Glenview area, and he confronts the ex-boyfriend. That's when one shot is fired.
Chief Jakari Young says they believe Keene meant to shoot the ex-boyfriend but accidentally hit Elliott. He says Keene then took off on foot. Elliott died in the hospital soon after. Her family sharing this photo of her today with News 6. While police searched for Keene, 3 schools in the area were placed on lockdown, and the SWAT team was called in to search Keene's apartment on Halifax.
Upon entry, we realized he was not there. We were able to confirm that he was picked up and taken to another location.
About 6 hours later, police say Volusia deputies found Keene in a car on US 1.
Straight down on the ground, straight down on the ground.
Now on top of the murder charge, police say they also found drugs at Keene's house when they did a search warrant on it after his...
Man, drugs. People need to start learning how to say no to drugs, don't they?
arrest, so he's now also facing charges for drug trafficking and possession. In Daytona Beach, Volusia County, I'm Molly Reed getting results, News 6.
So there's that. It's not looking or sounding too good. So now here goes a model mom. This is something that I'd advise people not do. You really never want to leave 2 young children locked inside of a car. It's just not the smart thing to do. 2 young girls found unresponsive in locked hot car outside of Walmart. They always have the brightest people shopping at Walmart. A mother was arrested after Oklahoma City police said her 2 young children were found alone, unresponsive, and buckled up inside a locked car on Sunday. Oklahoma police responded to a Walmart store just before 3 p.m. Police said a citizen ended up crawling through an open sunroof to unlock the car. A witness told police that the car was hot to the touch and she burned her hand as she tried to get in. The outdoor temperature was 98 degrees Fahrenheit, and police said that there was no shade anywhere near the car, except for the mom. Both kids were awake and crying in an air-conditioned security vehicle by the time they arrived on the scene, officials said. According to a police report, security footage shows 33-year-old Elizabetta Babb and a young child walking into the store around 2:22 p.m. Babb is seen walking out of the store 6 minutes later and quickly walking back into the store by herself. A short time later, police said store security was given the vehicle tag, and it was announced over their intercom to see if the owner would walk out to the car, but nobody did. Police said Babb was seen on surveillance at the self-checkout line at 2:57 p.m. prior to leaving the store again to go to her car. By then, police said the children were already out of the car and getting looked at. Officers said Babb told them she was only in the store for 5 minutes. Babb was arrested on 2 counts of child neglect and brought to the Oklahoma County Jail. According to a police report, the children were released to their grandmother until the father could get back into town. So now look at this. Look at all this insanity we got down here. Woman accused of smuggling drugs to inmate during kiss, charged with murder. Look at that. Juvenile arrested in connection with triple murder of mother and 2 young sons. I mean, like, you can't make this up. And my question is, where are these stories at in the mainstream media? Let me ask you guys a serious question that I want to know the answer to. Where are these stories at? Shouts out to my man AB Promotion. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys drop AB Promotion some emojis. AB Promotions, as always, helps to support the platform. Definitely appreciate that. So my question for everybody is, where are these stories at in the mainstream media? Where are they? You never hear about them. I swear, if it was up to the mainstream media, you would think there's only one group of people that commits crimes. You never think that anybody like this guy commits a crime. Now, this took place overseas in the UK. Gateshead, 22 6'8" brute, sat on partner and punched and choked her while making death threats. Kevin Kavanagh of Dunstan set upon his partner after she threw his phone out of the window because he confiscated her device. The hulking 6'8" brute, weighing 22 stone, sat on his girlfriend and punched and choked her while making death threats in a dispute over phones. Kevin Kavanagh had confiscated his partner's mobile in an apparent act of jealousy. So she threw his device out of the window. After going to retrieve it, he launched a sustained attack on her, which left her covered in blood and with a broken nose. A court heard the victim thought she was going to die as the 57-year-old assaulted her and warned she would not get out alive. Now, Kavanagh of Gateshead has been jailed for 32 months. Newcastle Crown Court heard that they had been in a fairly tempestuous on and off relationship for about 4 years. There's been quite a number of issues, but she kept quiet about most of them because she would have struggled to find somewhere else to live. She had moved out for periods, but by January 23rd this year, she was back at his home on Palatine Place, Dunstan. They had been consuming alcohol, and trouble suddenly flared. The alcohol never makes a party any better. My man Carlton says, because this goes against the narrative that we commit 55% of the crime. Facts. Super duper facts. If you guys agree with Carlton, give me a thumbs up in the comment section. If you guys disagree with Carlton, give me a thumbs down. Prosecutor Neil Jones told the court she was looking at her phone around 7 p.m. and appeared to aggravate him, and he took her phone from her and was not going to give it back. He went to bed with her phone. She presumed there was some sort of jealousy in relation to a friend she'd been texting. In frustration, she took his phone and threw it out of the window and told him to get it from outside. He did get it, and when he came back, she was on the sofa. He grabbed her by the back of her dressing gown and threw her to the ground and sat on top of her, repeatedly punching and slapping her to the head. He was quite a big man, around 22 stone, so she was helpless and feared for her life. But notice how he's still alive. He then wrapped his hand around her throat and squeezed hard, saying, "You're not going to leave here alive, and I'm going to slit your throat." Oh, violent. She thought she was going to die and begged to go to the toilet. He said, "No, you're not getting out alive." The attack lasted around 20 minutes, and by the end of it, she was covered in blood, had bruising to her face, neck, and chest, and a broken nose. Her blood was also all over the flat, the court heard. In a victim impact statement, the woman said, "This made me fear for my life. I believed he was going to kill me due to his actions. It made me feel petrified, and I'm having flashbacks. I was in antagonizing pain around my face and body." The court heard she sought refuge at her dad's home afterwards after fleeing barefoot in her dressing gown, and he saw her in an injured state. Look at this. Look at this right here. Wallsend earbite thug got a taste of his own medicine when a victim injured his genitals. What is actually going on here? They better be careful injuring those genitals. Might mess around and get monkeypox. Look at this. Evil off the streets, vile perverts and violent killers among the criminals to be locked up in June of 2022. What's really going on, ladies and gentlemen? Seems like Europe doesn't only have a heat wave. Seems like they got a crime wave going on over there too. Seems like they got a crime wave going on over there too. But for whatever reason, No one's talking about it. Well, that's what we got Crimecast for. Woman accused of smuggling drugs to inmate during kiss, charged with murder. Here's my question. Which one is the woman? This happened in Nashville, Tennessee. A woman accused of smuggling drugs to a Tennessee inmate during a kiss has now been charged with murder. Rachel Dollard was taken into custody this weekend by special agents and the Dixon County Sheriff's Department on a warrant from a sealed indictment in Hickman County. I would never move to a county called Hickman. That sounds like a place where an infant would try to lynch you. I got a question for everybody, and you don't have to lie about it. Would you move to a place called, quote, Hickman? Sounds like they're burning crosses from the stroller in that place. You got me bent. So now here it says in February, Dollard was visiting Joshua Brown at the Turney Center Industrial Complex. According to the Tennessee Department of Correction, Dollard was seen passing drugs to Brown during a kiss. It was one of those magical Disney kisses where you have meth and shrooms on your lips, and when you kiss each other, you see all kind of cartoons and shit. That's probably how the princess turned into a frog. They had PCP on their lips and did a magical kiss. In February, Dollard was visiting Joshua Brown at the Turney Center Industrial Complex. Dollard was seen passing drugs to Brown during a kiss. Now, I'm curious as to how they saw the drugs being passed during this kiss, unless this motherfucker immediately just got high and fell out during the kiss, which, I mean, maybe she was that good of a kisser. You know what I'm saying? Maybe she has skills like that. I don't know. She didn't look that good, and I've heard that ugly women have skills. You know what I'm saying? TDOC said Brown swallowed a balloon pellet containing half an ounce of Richard, methamphetamine, and later died of an overdose at a local hospital. His stomach acid must have burned through the balloon. Brown was serving an 11-year sentence on drug-related charges and was set to be released in 2029. Dollard is being held in the Hickman County Jail for second-degree murder and introduction of contraband into a penal facility. Look at this. Death of hospital worker killed by knee to groin was ruled a homicide. What happened here? That sounds terrible. Now, look at this. This is what we got popping off in the UK. Carla said the pandemic caused people to go crazy. I disagree. I think a lot of these people were born with brain defects. Like these people here. You see a pattern? Evil off the streets, vile perverts, and violent killers among the criminals to be locked up in June of 2022. Horrific acts of violence and depravity have been revealed in Northeast courts this June. So look at this. We got a nice little lineup of mugshots. Looks very different than the lineup of mugshots that you see here in the United States. Horrifying details of violent and depraved crimes have been heard in Northeast courts in June. Judges have been tasked with passing a sentence on a string of evil criminals at the Newcastle Crown Court and Durham Crown Court. Among them was murderer Dean Johnson, who brutally stabbed a loving granddad to death after a crack cocaine binge. Damn. If only the UK had a 94 crack bill, if only Biden was a senator there back then maybe, just maybe, this loving granddad would still be alive today. But because Biden's war on drugs wasn't an international war on drugs, it was an inner city war on drugs. An unfortunate granddad died. Shame, shame, shame. Shame, shame, shame. Johnson was jailed for life with a minimum of 17 years for his horrific crime. Grapists and perverts who have destroyed their victims' lives have also been locked up after judges heard about the impact of their crimes. And, how about the fact that their crimes were crimes? Duh. They joined a string of other criminals to be put behind bars over the past 4 weeks. Today, we name and shame them. Here are the men and women who have been locked up this June of 2022. Robert Jevons. There's him and all of his square-headedness. This grapist destroyed his victim's life and left her suffering from nightmares and mental health issues. Robert Jevons raped a woman in 2020 and later said, "She wouldn't give it to me, so I took it away." Unapologetic. Unapologetic. She wouldn't give me the draws, so I tried them on myself. That's not how we do that. Durham Crown Court heard the 34-year-old subjected his victim to terrifying sexual acts that left her battling anxiety and sleepless nights. That's terrible. That's terrible. Javons of Norfolk Street, Sunderland, appeared at the court to be sentenced for 1 count of grape, which he pleaded guilty to at a previous hearing. Robert Turton, prosecuting, said in May of 2020, a woman contacted police and reported that she'd been raped by Jevons. She explained that at one point, Jevons was, quote, on top of her and couldn't get him off and couldn't move. After the grape, the defendant made it feel like it was the victim's fault, the court heard. Mr. Turton said that following the incident, Jevons was speaking to someone about the grape and he boasted, "She wouldn't give it to me, so I took it away." But following his arrest, he denied raping the women. That sounds like taking two sides of an argument, now doesn't it? Jevons was jailed for 5 years and 1 month and will be on the sex offenders registry for life. A lifetime restraining order will also be imposed, banning contact from the victim. Stephen Finley. Look at this guy right here. This husband snapped and smothered his, quote, nagging wife to death with a pillow. He was jailed. Now, I'm curious because I thought that we were the only ones that committed these kind of crimes. Man, doesn't seem like that's true, does it? This aggressive dad, let me see, hold on real quick. This aggressive dad assaulted a police officer. Look at that. He assaulted a police officer. No way. Now, I got a question for you guys. Let's just take a moment here. Usually the Crimecast live streams are not this long. So I apologize to people that usually watch this channel and are expecting shorter streams. How many times do people attack police officers and live to tell about it? Now, here's my question for you guys. Is attacking a police officer and living to tell about it, is that the American way? You're supposed to comply or die. Isn't that it? Isn't that how it's supposed to go? If that's how it's supposed to go, give me a thumbs up in the comment section. If that's not how it's supposed to go, let me know what's supposed to happen. Because I mean, that's what we're always told. He also caused damage to a wall and smashed head-on into a car during a high-speed chase. Man, if I didn't know any better, that sounds like resisting. I mean, you know, if I didn't know any better, I would assume this guy was not compliant with the police. That's what I would assume. Stephen Finley, who had multiple previous convictions for driving offenses, dug his thumb into the wrist of a police officer when they attempted to arrest him and was ranting and raving at a police station. Days later, the 49-year-old was involved in a police chase that ended when he smashed into a car and caused injury to a passenger. Finley of Hall Crescent, Horton, appeared at Durham Crown Court to be sentenced for assaulting a police officer, failing to provide a specimen, and dangerous driving. He pleaded guilty to the charges at a previous hearing. Now take a look at this guy here on the side. Predator wore Christmas jumper to look enduring before toilet sex attack. I don't know what a toilet sex attack is, but it doesn't sound very pleasant. It also sounds like something that can transmit monkeypox. Sentencing Finley, Judge James Atkin, recorder of Durham, jailed him for 12 months and banned him from driving for 2 years and 6 months. He will also have to sit and extended retest. Now, this is interesting because he ran headfirst into, front end of his car first into another car, and he was assaulting a police officer, and he's only doing a year in jail. This is in the UK. See, sentencing Finley, Judge James Atkin, the recorder of Durham, jailed him for 12 months and banned him from driving for 2 years and 6 months. He will also have to sit an extended retest. I mean, that's a slap on the wrist. Now, who is this guy? This is Anthony Beamson. This dangerous driver led police on two high-speed chases that saw him ram a police car and drive down the opposite carriageway of the A19. What do you think about that? Man. That's a lot of resisting arrest. Comply or be terminated. Comply or be terminated. Anthony Beamson sped off from police after being pulled over and drug tested on August 8th and led officers on a high-speed pursuit. Now, here's my question. Is leading officers on a high-speed pursuit resisting arrest? If leading officers on a high-speed pursuit is resisting arrest, give me a thumbs up. If it's not, give me a thumbs down and let me know what it is. And also, let me know what internet service it is that Officer Tatum uses, that he hasn't seen any of these videos and he hasn't done any content on them. And of course, he'll say, well, those are all videos from the UK. Okay, well, I did a bunch from Oklahoma as well. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says the 26-year-old managed to get away, but days later, on August 17th, he was back behind the wheel again and undertook a second dangerous chase that had to be abandoned by police. Beamson, who had no insurance or driving license at the time of the offenses, pled guilty to 2 counts of dangerous driving. Sentencing Beamson of Hawthorne Cottages, South Hetton Judge James Atkin, the recorder of Durham, said it was enthusiastically dangerous driving, and he jailed him for 16 months. He also banned him from driving for 24 months, and he must take an extended driving test. This guy name is Kylan Talentire. Man, they going wild over there in the UK. They're going wild over there in the UK. What's really good? What's really good? Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have not smashed that like button, please help your boy out by making sure that you smash that like button. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and make sure that you hit that bell icon twice. This county Durham thug roundhouse kicked a police officer before knocking a female officer unconscious after seeing his dad get tasered. Oh, wow. So this dude went full Ryu and said, oh, you could, and knocked the female officer out. Thank goodness it wasn't Amber Geiger or Kim Potter. Man, monkeypox and crime. Kylan Talentire broke a police officer's thumb shortly after his violent dad had been tasered. It's genetic. And went on to assault 2 more officers while being checked in at a police station. The 21-year-old punched an officer in the shoulder before pushing a female officer over, causing her to hit her head on the concrete floor and knocking her momentarily unconscious. I wonder if when she woke up, she had some sense. You guys think they're going to reduce his sentence because he might have knocked some sense into her or no? Talentire of Middlestone Moor, Spinney appeared at Durham Crown Court via link from HMP Durham to be sentenced for 2 counts of assaulting a police officer, assault occasioning actual bodily harm, and possession of a Class C drug, which they didn't name. He pleaded guilty to the charges at a previous hearing. Judge James Atkin, recorder of Durham, jailed him for only 20 months. I don't know what happened to this dude. I don't know if that occurred during a fight or at birth. And I'm talking about his face. Burglar Christopher Kinning broke into an Airbnb and stole a man's bank card to buy booze. Kinning was given a suspended sentence at Durham Crown Court in April for burglaring an Airbnb holiday home near Durham last year. The 42-year-old, along with another man, stole a TV set from the holiday home, which was not occupied at the time. But despite avoiding an immediate prison sentence for the burglary, Kinning went on to commit further offenses a month later on May 16th, where he broke into a car and stole a man's bank card. He then went to Asda in Stanley and bought more than 40 pounds worth of booze. So now here's my question. Look at the slaps on the wrist that these people are getting for their crimes. Now, my question is, look at the repeated behavior and look at how the police are disrespected. If you've repeatedly allowed people to do this kind of thing, you see this prevalence of this kind of behavior is very high. You got to ask yourself that damning question. Is the world correct? In my opinion, this is more evidence that it is. Kinning was brought back in front of a judge at Durham Crown Court to be sentenced for fraud by false representation and other minor offenses, which he admitted during the hearing. The court heard Kinning had 33 previous convictions for 63 offenses, including numerous offenses of theft. Sentencing Kinning of Elm Street, South Moore, Stanley, Judge Ray Singh activated part of his suspended sentence and jailed him for 14 months. He did all that and only got jailed for 14 months. So if you're going to commit crime, the UK is the place to be. The UK is definitely the place to be. And ladies and gentlemen, this article has so much crime on it, we're going to have to pick it up another day. Because guess what? I got more streams to do. So make sure that you catch them. And you can do that by smashing the like button and hitting the bell on the backup channels. So take a look at all of this. What's one thing that most of these people have in common? They attack the police. And you don't need to read a hashtag or a news report because they live to tell about it. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice, smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and I will catch you all on the next video. All right? Peace.